Now that we're somewhat familiar with the timeline, it's time to move on and actually get things moving here. So let's start by just doing a basic block. We'll come out here to our Create Standard Box. I'm going to go ahead and do that up in the top. Notice how when I put it over here in the top of the viewport here, the front is off to the left, but the left we're looking straight on. All right, so again, we're going to be working with these three. Do not use this. We're going to be adding cameras, and we're not even going to mess with perspective. But notice down in the perspective, we can't see the block. So we have to scroll back, and there we go. We can see it. Now, we're simply going to move this box from left to right for our very first lesson. Very basic. Again, we're going to be using the same tools we've been to create these shapes, such as move, rotate, and scale. These three main tools that we've used to manipulate a shape, those control, they can be controlled in an animation as well. All right, so the very basic here, we'll start at frame 0, and we're going to hit the auto key button, all right, which brings everything up red. That means that anything we do now will be part of the animation, even such things as changing color and whatnot that we will learn. So make sure that you turn this off when you plan to edit something that you don't want it to animate. So, just like in Flash, we start off, this is our first keyframe. This is where the box will start. We're going to tell Max at frame 300, which is the end, we want the box to end up to the right side of the stage or scene. Now we simply turn off the word auto key, hit rewind, and play, and notice in the top viewport, which is the active viewport, you can see the box moving from 0 to 300, which is quite a long time there. 300 frames is pretty slow. We're looking at a good over 10 seconds here. All right, so to watch the animation, you have to be in the current viewport. It will not animate in all 4 viewports. So if you want to see it in the perspective, you hit go to start, make sure perspective is highlighted, hit play, and notice our box is slowly moving across the stage. Now, in order to, and then this is virtually for any object, this is the procedure we will use. You have to select the object to see the keyframes. Think of every object having its own layer. We select off the object, notice the keyframes are gone. That's because it's waiting for us to begin a new one. Okay, so now let's say we want to speed this up. Let's say we want this thing to go from 0 to 100 frames. Well, that's real simple. Notice down here with the object selected, we have the red keyframes. I'm going to say I want this to end at 100. I'm going to click on that red keyframe, hold my left mouse, and drag that keyframe to 100. Now, when I hit rewind and hit play, notice it moves much faster. It's moving about 1/3 the time faster there. But then the remainder of the stage, it's just sitting there waiting for something else to happen. Okay, so this is the basics of motion here. Now, we're going to be doing a lot more with this, but that is the first stage in animating, is making something move from one point to another. Now, let's add something here. Let's say we want the box to come down here, and then we want it to come back. Well, now we can say, okay, at 200, we want it to return, so I'm going to hit the word auto key, go in and move my box to the other side again. Now, we've simply got this left and right motion. Now, I'm going to show you one more trick, and this is a little bit confusing, and we'll get into how to fine-tune this later. But a little unlike Flash, if we go in and say auto key to 300, and we want the box to now move over here, watch what happens. The box comes down and does its movements, and we're in good shape there. Right? It comes up from 0 to 100, then down to 200, then down to 300. we take this keyframe out, watch what happens. It'll compensate. So when it gets up to this point, it's skipping that. Okay, so we got some basic motion, and that's what I want you to do before you continue any further lessons, is to fire up Max and pretty much make a box move from point A to point B, then point B to point C, and then feel free to save it.